Well, I work at LMCA, and I'm the janitor there. And I was on my hands and knees cleaning the floors, and I got a little scrape on my knee. Didn't think very much of it, put a Band-Aid on it. Same thing 2 weeks later, and I realized I couldn't get up on my knee anymore. It was serious pain. Went to the ER, they took blood. Next thing I know, they called me back and said, there's something in my blood.
At this point, it was very evident that Paul was very sick. So nothing but myself and Jesus got Paul in the car that morning. Drove over to St. Rose Hospital. So immediately they took him back and they began tests with Paul. And before I knew it, they took Paul up to critical care, where we proceeded to stay an additional 17 days. Paul was admitted for staph infection and also sepsis. And they kept coming in with the fact that they wanted me to be aware of the fact that Paul may not survive. At that point, all I could do was pray. And I told so many of them that you don't know my God. Immediately, our small group were in our room, and they proceeded to pray with us and hold us and guide us and nurture us through it all. There wasn't a moment that I didn't feel God's presence. And I remember one day in particular that Paul was going down for a test in regards to his heart, because they had told us because the infection was so severe that the staph infection would probably have invaded his heart valves. And I remember telling the cardiologist that, you don't know my God. And he left the room, and I was just sitting there by myself, and our pastor walks in. We prayed, and the cardiologist came back in shortly thereafterwards and said, you're right, you have a mighty God. There is nothing wrong with Paul's heart.
When the doctor came in and said, Paul, you're gonna be okay, it was such a big relief, not just for me, but for my wife, for all our friends that were there.
The transition from hospital having 24/7 care to home took quite a bit of navigation. So again, relying upon our small group family who proceeded to just hold us and love on us and help balance the meals and the driving to and from appointments, because there was just multiple doctor appointments with very many different physicians to make sure that Paul's care continued. John 15:12, this is my commandment, love each other the same way that I have loved you.
Before we were in a small group, it was just day-to-day life. Now, we would know what to do without a small group. Life is so much more with a small group than doing it by yourself.